by the Philistines in battle, and they took it to Ashdod, and they put it into the temple of Dagon. Dagon is a fish deity, not worship of fish, but some type of fish.
Philistines being the
Pelishtim, and they are sailors, so it makes sense that they have.
Philistine came from where?
Well, originally they came from
Greece,
Crete, Phoenicia, somewhere around the middle in the Mediterranean, and they captured that area of the coast, and that's where they lived. So they had this temple, and they put the ark in the temple. And then they woke up in the morning, and they found that their deity was on the ground, but sort of bowing down to the ark. So they picked it up and put it back on its pedestal, and then they came the next day, and the same thing happened. But that day, its head was missing, and its hand was cut off, and they were on the doorstep of the temple. So this got them really scared. And we mentioned that's the reason why nowadays people don't walk on the doorstep. They come into the temple, they jump over it, because this is a holy site where their idol land is. Okay, so we're on page 14, Pasuk Vav. Vatichbad Yad Hashem El Ha-Ashdodim. God's hand, Yad Hashem, became heavy. Just like we had the word in Pharaoh's heart became heavy. Kaved is heavy.
Respect's a different root.
What?
Tichbad.
I think it's the same root. Same root. There's a relationship between heavy and respectful. Heavy as in not just a lightweight, something you just push around. Right? Something you just push around commands respect. So there's a connection between the two words, but here it means to be heavy. So God's hand was heavy. El ha-Ashdodim. It means against the people from Ashdod. What happened? So far nothing's happened. But because they didn't take the message from God seriously, he's given two warnings already. For the first day and the second day. What happened following from that? Vayeshimem. Now, yeshimem is from the word shmama, to be desolate. So to desolate somebody, I don't know what that means exactly, but it means something like when you read stories about the Black Plague, so many people died that their villages and towns were empty. People ran away to the countryside in order not to be affected by what was going on in the towns, or they ran away from the villages not to be affected by what was going on in the villages. So the place was left desolate. I think that's what it's trying to, as a result of what's about to be said, people ran away. Vayach oisam, he struck them, like the Makot, Vayach oisam, he struck the Philistines in Ashdod, Batechorim. Now this is one of these precursives, but it's an unusual word. It's a completely different word. Usually a precursive means it's written one way, read the other way, an extra yud, extra vav, a missing hey, right? Here it's a completely different word. It says in the brackets afolim, and it's read techorim. If you take a Tanach out, it'll say there afolim, but the tradition is to read it techorim. Now, I think they're just two versions of the same infection, but one is more what's the word? Descriptive. And it's like too descriptive to go uncensored. You know what I'm saying? So it's written of that. When it's talking about hemorrhoids, that's what it means. In modern Hebrew, if you say hemorrhoids, someone's got hemorrhoids, it's got techorim. What are hemorrhoids? Hemorrhoids are inflammation of the lower part of the intestine. It can be very painful. It sometimes comes out and it starts to bleed. And I just think that the original word, the word that's actually written in the text, which we don't read, is more descriptive of it, to the point that it's like grotesque and a lot of unbecoming of a holy text to write in such medical terms. So we read it, which is something not as bad, which is called techorim. And you guys got hemorrhoids. Okay, what are they? Got hemorrhoids. But it seems that it was very, very painful. I think that Chazal actually say, you'll see later on where the hint to this is that the people's hemorrhoids were actually pulled out by rodents. I mean, if you have a hemorrhoid which has already come out slightly, and you get attacked by a rat or a mouse, it can pull them out. And that's really painful. Okay? You get
It's
it?
about how they couldn't go to the bathroom.
Well, I suppose when they went to the bathroom in a place which is slightly uncivilized, they may get attacked by rodents. Okay? Okay? So that's called tuchorim. So now you can understand why people would run away from such a place. That's what it means by Yeshimem, as a result of this disease that was happening to these people. It didn't actually kill them. It doesn't say killed them, right? Hemorrhoids don't kill you, don't. They could do, I suppose, if they get infected and do whatever, right? But it doesn't say they died. It just says the place became desolate. But it doesn't say they became desolate because people died, which could be. In the Black Plague, a lot of desolate because so many people died. But it could be just of the fear of this being infected or being attacked by these things. People just left the area. So this was God's displaying his displeasure with the people from Ashdod who were holding on to his ark, and after the warnings, just carried on as if nothing was happened. Didn't take this message seriously. So what God's hand was heavy against Ashdodim, and he struck them with hemorrhoids at Ashdod, the town of Ashdod, ve'et gevuleha, and its borders, which means larger Ashdod. Okay? Just like you've got the town of London, you've got the city of London, the whole area around it. It's going to be the villages around it, the whole municipal area, something more than just a minimal area. Vagiru ha'anashim ki chen.
So they saw.
I think it means and they saw. It doesn't mean they were feared because of this. They saw this connection. They realized there was no question now. Originally, the god had fallen, and then it had smashed. And then they said, okay, it happens, no big deal. You know, it doesn't seem that they took it seriously. The natural inclination to just assume things are a coincidence was how they reacted at first, but now they realized the connection. But Yiru, Anshed, and Kichen, they saw that this was really, that it was thus, means they saw the connection.
What's that?
But Anshed, the people, like Anashim,
right.
the men of Ashdod saw this connection, that God was angry with them. Vayomru, and they said, Lo yeshev Aaron Elohei Yisrael imanu. The ark of God will no longer stay with us, remain with us. We don't want it to remain with us. Ki koshta aleinu, ki shkosha yodo aleinu. His hand has become difficult, heavy, hard to do. Kasher is hard. God's hand has become hard against us. Va'ad Dagon Eloheinu, and against Dagon our God. And therefore they want to get rid of the ark. What do they do? So what should they have done? What do you think they should have done? What would have been the most sensible conclusion?
Throwing the thing away.
Or, but
Right.
God may be angry if you do that. It wasn't like, I don't know if they were so silly to think that if they destroy the ark, they've killed God.
Yeah, so
You know, they didn't say that. They understood this was the ark of God, and God is annoyed with them for holding on to it. So I think the most obvious
Give
thing
it
would
back.
be to give it back. They didn't do that. What did they do? But Yishlechu. So they sent a message or a delegation. Vayasfu, and they made a gathering. They said, let's make a gathering of who? Eskol Sarnei Pelishtim. All the governors. Could be a better word to describe it. It means that sort of person. The people who are in charge of the Philistine towns. There's always been 5 Philistine towns: Ashkelon, Ashdod, Ekron, Azza, Gat. Those are the 5 Philistine towns. We've been to one called Ashdod, so they called all the governors of the different regions of Philistine. Aleihem, to them, so I suppose they meet a meeting in Ashdod. Vayomru, and they said, Ma na'aseh, what should we do? La'aron Elohei Yisrael, to the ark of the God of Israel. Notice again, each time it's called the ark of Elohei Yisrael, as it's sometimes called the ark of Hashem, sometimes the ark of Elohei Yisrael, each time. Vayomru, and they said, Gat Yisov, let's turn it around to Gat. Gat is one of the 5 towns. Let it go there. So what do they think in their pagan minds? Oh, the God of Ashdod is not able to deal with this, but the God of Gat, he'll deal with God. Don't worry. We'll send it to a different place and it'll be okay. I suppose that's what they're thinking. But Yomru, now Yisov is like the word to do a sivuv, to go around. It means to go around on a circuit. Instead of being Ashdod, let's send it round to Gat. Gat Yisov Aron Elohei Yisrael. Let's send it over there. It doesn't mean to send it, it means to go on a route, to go round there. Vayasebu, so that's what they did. They made it on that route. Et Aron Elohei Yisrael, the Aron of the God of Israel, that should end up in Gat instead of being in Ashdod. Vayehi. So it was Acharei Hesabu Oto, after they'd sent it there. Batihi Yad Hashem Ba'im. So now the hand of God was against that city. Mehuma Gedola Me'od. Now this sounds like to be more extreme. In God's impatience, so to speak, is or what he does as a reaction that people don't get his message. If it says this in the Torah, if the Jews don't get his message, and God has to make it more serious until you get the point. At some point, you'll realize you get the right conclusion. Okay, so what does he do? This time it's Mehuma Gedola Ma'od, a great confusion. Gedola Mehuma is a confusion. I mean, it's panic, I suppose, would be the right way we try it. But people saw not just the fact they brought the ark, the fact that how it's affected them, they panicked. Vayach es anshei ha'ir, he struck the men of the city, mi katon ve'ad gadol, from small to big. Now that could either mean in age, or in size, or in importance, right? It actually sounds, from small to big, sounds like it's saying even the big. I mean, it could be that up till now the people who were more affected by it were the small, in either younger or less well off, and therefore they had less hygienic toilets, and therefore there was more effect on their hemorrhoids than on the other people. In this town, God struck Mikatan Vagadol. Even usually when you say that, the second one is the one which is more, it's a big chiddush. It means it's not as obvious. Even the big people, even the people who were wealthy and had nice, concrete buildings and no mice could get in there, even they were affected. They were also affected by the hemorrhoids. Now the word yisorsu is from the word seter, which means in private. They were also affected in their private parts with the hemorrhoids. So it hasn't gone worse than hemorrhoids, it's only gone worse in the fact that it affects everybody. It keeps going worse. You'll see each stage it gets worse and worse. Okay. So what do they do? Ekron, and send the ark of God to Ekron. That's another one of the Philistine stars. Maybe the God of Ekron will deal with them. Bit stubborn, aren't they? Yeah, in their desire to hold on to this ark of God. Because that's their symbol of victory, of their subjugation of the Jews. If we give it back, that means we're giving in to them. No, we're not giving in to them. But the God of Ekron, he'll may deal with it. Okay, Vayhi, it was. Kevo Aron ha'Elohim Ekron. When the ark of God came to Ekron, Vayizaku Ekron, and they really learned their message. They know what's going to be. We're going to all get hemorrhoids. Because that's what happened in Ashdod, that's what happened in Gat. We've already learned our message. The people of Ekron were all up in arms. Like Yizaku Ekron, the Ekronim gave a cry out, Lamor, saying, Hey Sabu Eli, they brought around here Et Aron Elohei Yisrael, the ark of the God of Israel. Well, for what purpose? Lehamiseni, to kill me. The Etami, my people, my families, my wives, my children, we're all going to die from this. Now, it doesn't say that people died up till now. But if they can see it's getting worse and worse, it's becoming more serious each town it goes from, well, the next thing is people are going to die from it. It's exactly what happened. Vayishlechu, so they sent a message, Vayasu, and they made a gathering at Kol Nasan and the same guys from beforehand, but the same guys beforehand who had advised to pass it around from one place to the next. They brought them to this time they brought them to Ekron, Vayomru, and they said, Shalchu. Who said? I suppose the people of Ekron made a gathering of the governors of the Philistines, and they said to them, we don't want it here, send it away. Shalchu. Shalchu means to send away. Like a shaliach, a messenger. Yeah. Send it. Et Aron Elohei Yisrael, the ark of the God of Israel. V'yashav limkamo, so that it should go back. Yashav, not to sit. like teshuvah, to go back to its place. They come to the conclusion we've got to send it back to Israel. That's the only thing we can do. It's too risky having it around here. No one can deal with it. Not the God of this, not the God of that. Send it back. V'lo yamis oisi, so that he shouldn't kill me. He meaning the God of the ark. Ve'esamiya, my people. Why do they come to this conclusion? Ki haisa mehumas maves. There was a death panic. It wasn't just a plague. It was they were really concerned they were going to die. But chal ha'ir, kavda ma'id, yad Hashem sham. In the whole city was this death panic because the hand of God had been very strong in this place. Now, did they really die? Well, let's see. It looks like they did, because that's why there was a death panic. Those who didn't die, that means a lot of people did die. So when people started to die from this, they said, that's enough. Hemorrhoids is one thing, but dying from it is that's so this, like I pointed out before, and it got more serious each place that it moved. Started off with hemorrhoids, it went off to hemorrhoids to everyone, and now people are dying from it. We would say the plague. Right? Those who didn't die from it, they were stricken by hemorrhoids. So no one got away with it. Shava means a cry, like an outcry of the city went up Hashamayim to heaven. Now we usually understand that type of expression to mean that God heard their prayers. If something went up to heaven, right? I don't think that's what it's trying to say. I don't think he's trying to say God heard their prayers. Maybe it does, because in the end they do send it back. Okay, but I think it just is a description of how awful the situation was. Like there was the heavenly outcry. When we say that the cities of the Canaanites were fortified to the heavens, what does that mean? It's nothing to do with God. That's not what the word heaven there means. It's just an expression of something that was very, very tall. So a very, very strong outcry would be a heavenly. Don't think it necessarily. I mean, it could be that God heard their prayers, but I don't think that's what I'm trying to say. Okay, Vayhi, Aron Hashem. You see now, let's go back to called Aron Hashem.
Yeah.
See, the authors keep changing. I think it's usually because this is the author writing unrelated to the Philistines. When the Philistines talk about it, they see it as an ark of judgment. They talk about Aron of God, right? But now the author is now telling the story. The ark of God was in the Philistine area for a certain length of time. So it's not really describing from the Philistine perspective, it's described from the author's perspective. And he calls it Aron Hashem. Aron Hashem, the ark of God, was Bistei Philistine, in the fields of Philistine. I think because the Philistines have lots of fields. That's why they had towns as well. But the area is generally known as the fields of the Philistines, Shiva Chadoshim, for 7 months. It means this whole story that we've been talking about now, this movement from starting Ashdod, went to Gat, then went to Ekron, that whole period until they came to the conclusion they worked out how to send it back, was a 7-month period altogether. Vayikru Philistine Lakohanim. So the Philistines called their priests. Right? Doesn't mean what we call priests, right? But the same idea. They're people who dedicated their lives to working in their temples. Because they felt, if we're going to send it back, we have to know what's the religious procedure. Not to send it in the post, right? There must be some type of religious procedure for sending it back, which will gain our forgiveness from God, right? Maybe sending it back isn't enough. We're going to send him a $1 million check.
Yeah.
I don't know. So the priest will know what to do. So that's what they do. They called their priests velakosmim, and to their magicians, which are probably also knowledgeable in this type of area of activity. Okay? Lema, this is what they asked them, saying, Manaseh, what should we do? And look at this. La'aron Hashem, to the ark of God. They're not calling it Aron Hashem, Elohim anymore. Even though it's the Philistines speaking. You see that? This is reported speech. The Philistines are referring to as Aron Hashem. So let me tell you what I think the take on this is. It's the first time I think the Philistines themselves are referring to Aron Hashem. I think that the whole concept of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, excuse me, which usually refers to attribute of mercy, which clearly they don't see that. They don't see any mercy on it.
Yeah.
But how does it relate to that? Is because Yud Kei Vav Kei really relates to God's name as the creator of the universe, of bringing everything into existence. It means that he brought the word. It's from the word Haya, to be, but it's made of three words: He was, He is, and He will be. It means He is above time. He brought the reality of being into existence. He is the being. That concept is a Jewish concept that we can relate to this God. When Goyim have a pagan God, they always call it Elohim, which is a power. It's not the ultimate power. It's not that which brought everything into existence in their mind. Even if they believed in such a concept, that there's something that brought, they don't believe that it's relatable. They don't believe in their prayers they can pray to the God, the being that brought everything into existence. They believe that being went to sleep and doesn't run anything, and then he gave the world to be governed by different gods. There's a god of rain and a god of war and a god of love, and that's called the power. That's why they call them Elohim. And God divided it all into different powers. And they assumed that the God of Jews is just another one of those, very powerful, another God of those. And that's why they always call God as Elohim. Even our God they call that. Even they call the God of Elohim, because they don't believe there's anything beyond that, or there's anything super. What God wants to teach Pharaoh in the plagues is that there's something which, all those little powers that you know of, there's something that's in control of all of them. And that's called Yud Kei Vav Kei. And I think that the Philistines have come to this realization. If the God of the Jews is able to defeat the God of Ekron, and the God of Gath, and the God of each of these gods, then obviously he's not just another God of the Jews. There's something super, and now they're prepared to refer to it as the Ark of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Not because he's displaying mercy, but because the attribute of bringing everything into existence, they've come to that realization. There's something super God, which is what God was trying to teach Pharaoh through the plagues. He should understand that the God that the Jews worship is the God of the whole of everything. Yeah, of all existence. So I think maybe that's where they've come to this realization. Okay. Hoidi unu. Hoidi unu means from the word da, to know. Lahodia means to make known. Hoidi unu, tell us. Make known to us. Tell us, bameh. So they're asking the priests and the magicians of the Philistines, what should we do about the Ark of God? Tell us, bameh neshalchenu. With what? Bameh, with what? Neshalchenu. Should we send it? Shalech, to send. Yeah. Nishalech, we will send. Nishalech kenu, we will send it. Limkaba. What should we send it back? How do we send it back? What's the procedure? What should we send it back? Vayomru. And they said,
Come.
So who's answering now? The priests and the magicians of the Philistines,
right,
who have not been consulted yet. This is the first time they were consulted. Up to now, they asked the political leaders, the people in the street came to a decision of sending him back. The political leaders were brought to a gathering and they agreed to send him back. Now they're asking their religious leaders, what should we do? So they said, in Mishalchim, if you're sending. Now I see this interesting. They're the first ones to cast doubt about the need to send it. To me, it looks like the religious leaders of the Philistines weren't so keen to send it back, because in a sense they're admitting defeat to their whole reason to be, right? You know, the political leaders, okay, big deal. So we send out the Jewish God, but send it back to them, right? And he's a great God. They're not. It's not their business, their beliefs. You know, right? But the priests have got to say, if you want to send it back, we didn't say you should send it back. If you feel you should send it back, right? And also, they don't even call it Aron Hashem. They're not prepared to admit this is Aron Hashem, right? They say, Et Aron Elohei Yisrael, the God of the Jews. Okay, you want to send it back? Fine, this is the way you should do it. Al Tishalchu Oisei Reikam. Al means don't. No, Al with an ayin means on. Al with an aleph means don't. But I just learned this week, somebody told me the difference between al and lo.
One's like future, one's...
No. Someone told me, listen to this idea, in this week's parasha, in Parashas Boy, God gave a few commandments about the Korban Pesach, how they were supposed to eat it.
Okay.
Right? There's certain restrictions. So one was they weren't allowed to cook it in water. We're going to learn that in Pesachim in a minute. Right? You're not allowed to cook it in water. That was one restriction. Another restriction was they weren't allowed to leave any till the morning.
Yeah.
Right? If you look at it, where it's worded, isn't it? Parashas Boy, chapter 12, it says, Al toichlu mimenu na. Don't eat from it raw. Ubasha motion or cooked. Kiyim telesh, but it must be roasted, whatever. And it says, V'loi siru, you mustn't leave over till the morning. So those are two instructions. They're basically the same. One says you mustn't eat it raw, one says you must leave over. One says al, one says lo. In English it's translated the same probably. 9, you shall not eat it. You shall not leave any. It's the same. So the Meshech Chochmah writes that al is not as obligatory. Al is often, he says, you see the word al often is used with the word na, meaning please.
Yeah.
Please don't. When I give you a command, I say lo. When I say don't, it's not a command. I'm advising you. I'd rather you didn't do it. So sometimes I even say the word please. Even if I'm not saying the word please, it indicates that it's not a command. I'm not in a position to command. Okay? So why is that different? So he said like this. The first instruction was the way they were supposed to cook it or not cook it. That was before midnight. Correct? Before the plague of the firstborns. So God felt, in a sense, he couldn't insist because he hadn't saved them yet. After midnight, when all the Egyptian firstborns died and the Jews didn't, now God said, I'm the boss now. You're not slaves of Pharaoh anymore, you're my slave, you're my servants. I can tell you what to do. So the second instruction about not leaving until the morning, that it says the word lie is an instruction. I said, I had this beautiful idea. When I said that, I understand now why God is critical of Eli's criticism of his sons. Eli criticized his sons for telling them that they were behaving badly.
Yeah.
But when he said it to them, he said, Al. Yeah. He said, Al Vanai. No, my sons. Here's bad news what I heard about you. He doesn't say, Lo Vanai. He doesn't say, you mustn't do it. He says, I don't think this is a good idea. Right? So it could be, when I heard that, I said, I'm going to have to check up. Every time you see the word Al, you're just going to have to fit in. Otherwise, it's not good, right? It's a good point. I put to fit in. So here, he's saying, they said, if you're sending, Al Tishalchu, don't send it, break up. Right? So he's not saying you mustn't send it empty, but it's not a good idea. If you send it back empty, that will be seen as a slap in the face to God. It'll be insulting that you send it back empty. You want to get God to appease you, you have to do it like this. So he's saying, this is our advice. Al Tishalchu, I said, don't send it back empty-handed. Rekom is empty. I'm not sure the difference between rake and rekom. Rake is usually empty. When the pit that they threw Yosef in, I bought a rake, the pit was empty. Had no water in it. Okay? I'm not the difference between rake and rekom. Don't send it empty. Ki here means not because, here means but. Instead of sending it empty, instead of it empty-handed, what do? Hashev tashivu lo asham. You should return, or surely return, a guilt offering. Asham is guilt, some admittance of guilt, which will get you appeased. As then, teirafu, then you will be healed. From the word refuah.
Oh yeah.
You'll get healed. If you do that, look, if you want to get healed, you send it back with empty. But if you do want to get healed, then send it back with a present.
All right.
And then you'll know. If that happens, then you'll know for sure Lama, why Loisasu Yadomikem, why God didn't remove his hand from you for this last 7 months. Right? All your plans of moving in one place and it didn't help you. So if you send it back with a present and you get healed, then you'll know why God didn't leave you alone till now. Okay, lama lo tasur, why he wouldn't remove his hand from you. Okay, so they said, Mahasham, what is this guilt offering? What are we supposed to do? Okay, we have to send an offering. What's it supposed to comprise of? Is a kilo of oranges enough? What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be gold bullion? What are we supposed to do? You didn't give us any, you just told us you should send something. Remember, Mahasham Hashem Nashivlo. What is this guilt offering that we're supposed to give back to God? And they said, Mispar Sarnei Philishtim Chamisha. The Mispar is a number. The number of Philistine governors are 5. Like we mentioned. We didn't mention up till here, but I told you the number. Ashdod, Ekron, Gat, Azza, and another one which we mentioned before. What was it? Ashdod. Ashdod, Gat, Ekron, Azza, and 4. Okay, there's 5. Yeah? Techorei Zahav. So, Mispar Sanei Philistine, the number of the Philistine governors, that means corresponding to the number, you should send Chamisha Techorei Zahav, 5 gold hemorrhoids. What does that look like? It's grotesque. It means inflamed intestines. So make out of gold hemorrhoids. That's your way to get an atonement.
Zahav is gold.
Zahav is gold.
Alright. Yeah.
I once heard the word zahav is made from 2 words. Zehav. Ze means this, hav means give. In Aramaic. Give me this. In zahav is what people want you to give them. Zehav, give me this. So zahav, and this is a pagan mind that the way to appease God is to send him a gold hemorrhoid. Right?
Yeah.
But, okay, it's better than nothing. Right? Didn't sell silver hemorrhoids or wooden ones, no, gold ones. Oh, shows respect. But not just that. V'chamisha achberei zahav. And 5 golden achbarim. What an achbar? What an achbar is?
No idea.
Today they use it in context with computers. It's a mouse. But the thing they use is also called nivrit, an achbar, which means a mouse.
Oh.
So we want you to make 5 golden mice and 5 golden hemorrhoids and send that as a present to God. Why mice? Achbar. Achbar is a mouse.
Yeah.
So either because these mice were, like I told you, the ones who were pulling these guys' hemorrhoids out and infecting them, or the mice were spreading the disease that killed them. It was like mice and rats.
Yeah.
Sent bubonic plague. So maybe that's what these guys were.
But would they not have known that?
I don't know. Okay? Ki magefa achas lekulam, because there's one plague for all of you. Ulesarnechem and your governors. Means all of you, whether you're special, simple, young, old, all of you, all of the people, you and your governors, have all been plagued by one thing. It's one plague. And therefore you all have to join in and send one present back to God. 5 hemorrhoids, 5 gold mice, that's the present. So, it's possible. Va'asisen, and you shall make. Salmei techorechem. Now at Tselem, you know what Tselem is? At Tselem. Man is made in the Tselem of God. Image. Nowadays you use the word Tselem to mean a crucifix. Why? It has an image on it, a cross with an image of Yoshki on it. So that's called a Tselem, like a Yiddish, Tselem. But the word Tselem really just means an image. So I want you should va'asisem, and you shall make salmei techorechem, an image of your hemorrhoids, v'salmei achbarechem, and the image of your mice, So they're really explaining why. Why these two things? Hamashchisim, because they're the ones who are destroying. That word we had in last week's parasha. That God didn't let the destroyer who killed the Egyptians enter the Jewish homes. Okay? And that's why the Jews weren't allowed out of their house and at night. So they shouldn't get attacked by the destroying angel. And Mashchis is a destroyer. These mice and hemorrhoids are destroying Esaret. So that's why I want him to make a image of these things and send it. Unisatem, and you shall give them these 10 objects, Elohei Yisrael, to the gods of Israel, calling them in the plural. We don't use God in the plural, but they do, because again, they're pagans and they see the gods of Israel as a plural. Unisatem Elohei Yisrael, you will give to the gods of Israel kavod. Kavod means respect.
Honor. Yeah.
It can mean heavy, but here it means respect. Ulai, maybe yakel es yado, he will something his hand. Yakel from the word kal. Kal means
What is it?
kal v'chomer. You know what kal v'chomer is? Kal v'chomer is when you say all the more so. Kal means light.
Okay, I thought all was light.
No, not light in that sense. Not light. Light as in not heavy.
Oh, okay.
Right? So maybe God will make light. Means at the moment he's heavy on you. He's down you. He's sitting on top of you, choking you to death. Maybe God will lighten his weight on you. So if you give respect to the God of Israel, maybe he will lighten himself, his hand from upon you. From upon your gods. From against your land. You're suffering, your gods are suffering because the gods were smashed. Your land is suffering. So maybe God will make it easier. Even if he doesn't forgive you altogether, he'll make it easier. Why make your hearts heavy? By being stubborn.
What's heavy?
Kaved. Just like kavod was honor, kaved techabdu. Techabdu. From the word kaved meaning heavy. Lama techabdu. Why heavy? Why make heavy as levavchem your hearts? Kasher, just like kibdu Mitzrayim uFaro, just like the Egyptians and Pharaoh. Es libam made their hearts heavy. Kasher kibdu Mitzrayim uParas libam. Got the words there? Just like Egypt and Pharaoh made their hearts heavy. Why do the same? Haloi, which means, is it not? Kasher hitalel bahem, when God played around with them, when God played around with the Egyptians, by Yishalchum, and they sent them by Yolechu, and they went. I mean, originally the Egyptians hardened their heart. Until God played around with them means he made them suffer. That's what it means, right? I don't mean play as a game, but in sense, like a cat plays with the mouse, and right, it teases it. So in the same way as God made the Egyptians suffer, and then they sent them, and then the Jews went. So why harden your heart and go through the same process? Just let it give in now, and it will stop it. Okay. Ve'ata. Ata means
now.
very good. Kechu.
No idea.
Kechu. Come on, you do it. You know idea? Kach. Vayikach koirach. Lakachat is to take. Kechu is right? Yeah. Kechu is an instruction. Take in the plural. So command. Yeah. Take va'asu and make agala chadasha echat. Okay, let's try it. Agala, a wagon. Is it related to the word egel? Now, an egel is a calf, like the golden calf.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a connection. Is it because calves pull wagons? Could do. Cows can pull wagons too, and horses can pull wagons too. I don't know why a wagon should be associated with calf. Maybe there's a connection. I don't know. And it's spelled the same. Just this is feminine. Agala is a wagon. Chadasha means
holy.
No. Come on, you made the word. Kodesh. It doesn't say Kodesh. What does it say? Chadash. What's Chadash? What's Rosh Chodesh?
New month.
Right. So
A
which
month.
word is? Well, yes and no.
Oh, new.
New, right. New. Because every month is a new moon, that's why it's called a Chodesh, a month. The word Chodesh means a month, right? But the reason why there's an association between new and month, as opposed to the sun, because every month becomes new, disappears and becomes a new moon, right? That's why month is the word Chodesh. So make a new wagon, brand new wagon. So when it says kechu, take, probably means to take the wood. You can't take a wagon and make a new one.
Yeah.
No, it means take the wood and make a new wagon. You can't buy a wagon. No, you have to brand. This is all sort of pagan ideas. It has to be made from brand new wood and it won't work otherwise, right? Or maybe it's more respectful. Yeah, you don't buy a wagon. No, you have to make it. You put your efforts into it. You dedicate it for God. Then God will be more pleased with it. Okay, so take the wood, make a brand new wagon. Echos, one. Just one. Okay. Echos is feminine because the wagon is feminine. Ushtei parot. What's a para?
Cow.
A cow. So there's two cows. Two cows. Alois. Now alois means they have given birth. Hello?
Hello.
Oh, you double the number in the class now.
Oh. Yeah.
Dylan can lift weights for 2 men though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, take a seat. You can use that copy there. Oh, we're coming to the end of the class. Okay, let's just finish the pastor. Come in, please. Okay, so these are two cows that have given birth. Asher loy Allah alehem oil, that have never carried a burden. A bit like the paraduma, if you know the red heifer, it can only be used if it never carried anything. Right? It never carried on its back. A yoke is a thing. Okay, so there's two cows. A lot means they've got young, means they've given birth, but they've never carried anything. Va'asartem, you shall tie. Tie. Now it's related to the word asur. Asur means forbidden, because your hands are tied when something's asur. Okay, so the same word. Et aparot, you tie the cows ba'agala to this wagon. You tie the cows to the wagon. We'll just finish this part, then we'll start. V'hashevaisem, and you shall return b'neihem, their sons, because these cows have got sons, because we just said the cows that are giving birth. Me'achoreim, behind them, habaita, to the house. You have to see the point of this in a second, okay?
Yeah.
I mean tomorrow. This is a picture. We've got this brand new wagon made from new wood, new wagon. We tied to the wagon two cows which have given birth. I think they've got young.
Yeah.
But the young you put behind them in the house.
Okay.
Okay. Like even suspense till tomorrow, find out what the point of all this is. It's only the first stage.
All right.
Okay? Good. Now we have to give a shiur on Shnas Pesachim.